Hello folks, this is Ron with another xTreme 8-minute tips, and I want to talk about a basic effect and a mega tree and some things that you can practice with. And in this we'll talk about some variations, and in that I mean we're going to talk about highlight, 3D, gradient for the bars effect, and what kind of impact that might make for this. At the same time, we're going to look at some color curves and what are these little pointers on here? What is this timer thing? We're going to push some of these to the limit and see what we can get it to do. But first, let's turn this thing on. I'm going to put on this one here, and that looks cool. I mean, we could just burn through a sequence right now and start with this, and that's a good start. But let's take a gander at the effect itself and see. This is just basically by choosing right in the center area here, you get more of this butterfly color palette that comes up, and this is in the gradient format. Fantastic. And then I'm going to deselect that. I'm going to click on the next one. We'll right click on this color curve, and it's really the same thing, except instead of using gradient, I chose none. You could choose random, but that just here, I'll show you what that looks like. Boom. Yeah, no. I like gradient, but in this case, I wanna do two things. I want to mix it up a little bit. I want to see the difference between the blend mode of none and the blend mode of gradient. Okay, so we'll click OK. And if we look at this effect, and this is just sending bars up. There's 7.4 for the cycles. There's 3 for the palette rep, and it's going up. And that's fantastic. And if I turn them both on, you can see it just starts adding more in there. Now, I don't have anything else selected for layer settings or the layer blending. Everything is just set to default. No fade, no sparkles, none of that. Just pure bars. So one of the things I like to do with the bars effect like this is take a look at the 3D, and boom, right there already that looks so much cooler than it did without it. I mean, that's cool and everything if you're on the Jamaican bobsled team, but we're not. We're doing Christmas, and that looks kind of cool. If you want some to make it look like candles, click on this button. Looks like a bunch of candles up here going up, and I kind of like that. That's a cool effect. And then we could smooth it out. We could use gradient, and if we turn off our highlight and our 3D and we use gradient, it's not as well shown there. We'll click there with the 3D, and we'll turn off the gradient, and then we'll turn the gradient back on. And that looks pretty cool. Now, we can make some changes here. If I click this arrow here under the second color curve, watch what happens. Notice it starts putting the color over here on the right side. I'll click it again for it to be on the bottom side. This will go over to the left. That's really not doing a whole lot for us. And I can go back just to the clock. And that looks kind of nice too. So here's what I suggest, because there's not really a menu list. And even in the instructions, it doesn't, or I should say the manual, it really doesn't go in and say, hey, try these combinations for the most dope looking tree in the world. You have to get in here and kind of play with the stuff and see what it looks like. Isolate, turn that effect off, choose this one. Oh, that's kind of cool. I like that. And when you like something, right click and create a preset, because you might forget the combination you had before. And again, I'm just scrolling through these, and I'll turn that one off, and we'll go to this one. We'll do the same thing. This is the gradient. It's not as harsh. It's a little softer and smoother. You can see it starts to put that color on the right side, and over the time, actually not over the time, it's just putting it on the right side. Yeah, that's on the bottom. That's on the left, and that's on the top. Okay, and with both selected, let's take off gradient. Let's put on highlight. That's kind of cool. Let's take off 3D, and we get that. It's not bad. It's kind of groovy stuff. Now, let's put the 3D back on, and let's change some of these directions here. You know what down's going to do. It's going to make it look like it's going down. And let's turn the other effect on. So I have them both going on, and that's cool. That looks like a nice little chocolate mousse shower there. Chocolate mousse shower. That's new, Ron. Right on. This is just expanding from the center, and compressing does the opposite. And let's go to our left. Now, so this is a completely different look. Did you expect that to happen? Maybe not. And now we click on highlight, and it puts that white line in there. I'm not a big fan of that. Looks cool, but not for me. and gradients not really showing a whole lot. And if we turn 3D off, well, it looks like maybe you're playing Tetris. And that's cool to play with, but not really showing a Christmas show, maybe, right? Okay, put the 3D back on. Let's go to Expand. I kind of like that, as well as Compress. I think that looks cool, even with the white lines coming in. So all we have is one effect that we can do, I don't know, hundreds of things with. Find the right way that works for you, what really excites you in your sequencing. You have to just go through these settings and combinations and try different things to see what excites you. I'll turn off the gradient. And then I'm going to turn these both straight down. And let's see what that looks like, these little arrows. And that's kind of cool. Let's alternate left and right. And that's interesting, but now I'm going to take these arrows under the color curves and point them back up. Not super excited about that one. Let's turn off the highlight. Let's turn off the 3D, and we're back to Tetris. Turn on the 3D, which I really like. I'm not really digging the alternate left and right, but the alternate up looked really cool. Play with these. Try some gradients. If you don't like the gradients, just put a couple colors on here. You can do the same thing. Not a big deal. And that's kind of cool looking too. Turn off the 3D. Not so interesting. Turn off the gradient. That's all right. Turn off the highlight. That's all right. Do the alternate left. That's all cool. So again, and I like effects like that. That just looks cool. Add in another color, maybe this over here, and that looks neat. Add in another bluish or pink, purple color, whatever you want to put in there. Add in a black and watch what happens. Go in here, and you'll notice that you get this negative space happening in here, and there's nothing wrong with that. Start adding in the color curves. Go crazy with colors and find something really interesting that you like. There's no wrongs in this, and there's a whole lot of rights. So, that being said, I hope you enjoy this section on the bars and color curves. It's a lot of fun to play with. These buttons here, the arrows, they don't work on every effect. Some effects, they won't even click for you. So be cautious when you're choosing an effect, and don't freak out when it doesn't do anything at all. All right, that's it. This has been xTreme 2-Minute Tips taken too long. See ya.